right, so it is late in New York City at Midtown Comics, and we're here. There's a bunch of people here. It's packed, all for the Doomsday Clock release. And we're talking with Jason from Midtown Comics. How you doing this early morning?
I'm used to it. We are usually here, just not with customers. So we're usually packing out the books at this time.
Okay, so what was the thrust behind this release, and did you expect this type of turnout?
I mean, they have been doing this since DC Rebirth. They've taken to doing the midnight releases. This is the biggest of the three, with Metal being probably the second biggest. Actually, no. Rebirth was definitely the biggest because we had Jeff Johns here doing the signing. But Metal was not anywhere near as crazy as this is. This is the biggest crowd that we've gotten, probably.
Why do you think so? This is...
I think this is going to be a huge story when it's finished. Metal is like the fun story.
Yeah, Metal's good.
Yeah.
Does the next part come out tomorrow?
I don't know. No, all the books are out, so... yeah, so Doomsday Clock, I think, is just going to be an iconic story. And it's the first time that the Watchmen universe has been touched since Alan Moore wrote it, so...
Right, I noticed there's no... One of the things that I think is a good thrust or a good sign of the strength behind the story is there's no signing. To be honest, in comparison with the variant covers, this is light.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just 4 covers is minimal for a big event book like this.
Okay, so... I mean, sales are one thing, but which would you guys prefer to see? Like a really dynamite story that keeps people coming back and it's more printings, or just, blow your mind sales? Or both?
I mean, the ideal would be both. I think comics right now has the problem of number ones are what's selling the market, but it doesn't necessarily lead to a great story. I am hoping with this one that it will lead to a great story, because as the comic book fan, that's what you want. You don't want just bestsellers. I'm sure my bosses want the bestsellers because we want to sell out, but as the fan, yes, absolutely, you want a good story.
No, since I'm here with Superman homepage, I have to ask the question, since Superman versus Dr. Manhattan, this has been a question that has been bandied about on the internet much more than I ever thought would actually happen. Right. Who would win in a... I think it's moronic at this point who would win in a fight, but I'll ask you.
Any of the new Marvel comics for the week, right? No. There's only the Doomsday.
Who wins?
I think for sure Dr. Manhattan wins.
Really?
Yes.
Why? I'm always of the opposing...
Superman has the superhuman strength and everything, but Dr. Manhattan has the godlike power.
He still has human weakness.
What if I were to tell you that there is nothing that Dr. Manhattan could try on Superman that other people haven't tried, and it's failed for them? What's he going to do differently? Superman, they've tried to wipe him from existence, didn't work. Just recently in Superman Rebirth, they tried to do that, didn't work. You can't disintegrate him, you can't do any of these things, so why does everyone believe he's going to win when Superman has shown such resilience to these things?
You kind of got to think Dr. Manhattan doesn't want to do it. He's not the bad guy trying to be the bad guy killing the good guy. Mm-hmm. He's a force of nature. That's all.
And Superman's
an alien who has some superpowers, but he's not a force of nature.
I'm not too sure about that one. I'm not too sure about that, but I like the answer.
I don't think that's how it's going to end, because then you can't have the other Superman story. Superman's not going to die.
Right.
Or the main Justice League. It's always going to be the D-listers.
Okay. Well, hey, thanks again for your time.
Of course.
I hope you guys have a really great night out here. I've got to go to work in the morning, so
really
I'm going to do a little bit more rounds. But thank you again for your time. Thanks.
Of course.
All right, so we're here at Midtown Comics, getting another quick interview in here. So what's in comparison to the other crowds, what's this crowd like for you?
It's a little bit heavy. Yeah, it's a lot.
Were you expecting this many people?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I know everybody's busy over here, and since I'm from Superman homepage, I'll just ask you the softball question. Who wins in that classic? Who wins in that classic face-to-face match-off? Superman or Dr. Manhattan?
I was holding
if they have to go mano a mano. I know it's boring, but
Dr. Manhattan.
Why? If I were to tell you that every single thing that Dr. Manhattan could try to attempt against Superman, everybody else has already done and failed, would you still think that Dr. Manhattan would win in a fight against Superman?
Yeah, because they'll write it that way.
Thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it. All right, so it's early morning here, Midtown Comics, New York City, and I'm with, let everybody know who you guys are.
My name's Johan Rosario.
John Vargas.
All right, what brings you guys out here in the early morning?
Doomsday
Clock.
Why? Why Doomsday Clock? Why would you, why not just wait until, when it comes out? There's plenty of copies. Why come out here for the, be one of the first people out here? What's the push on the story that you want to be here now?
Well, it's a lot of interweaving stories. I mean, for starters, the Doomsday Clock is picking up, over 30 years after the Watchmen series, and then you've got a couple of series that have gone before, like Rebirth, and with Batman and Flash, and then you've got Action Comics with Superman right now. So as soon as I finished reading the latest Action Comics, I was already like, all right, that's it. I got to get on this. It was just huge.
Also, I just gotta make sure I gotta get a copy. I don't know if these black and white ones are gonna just stop. First of all, I just like black and white. And secondly, Watchmen, the first one's gonna be a pretty tough act to follow. So I just want to see where this goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Alan Moore, he said he was fine with it, but he said he'd never read it.
He's fine with it?
He's fine with it, but he'd never read it. So
yeah, I understand why though.
And but he totally disowned before Watchmen.
Oh, yeah.
So he was like, I wanted nothing to do with this. So this is like a bit of a step in the.
It's a step up from totally disowning it.
Yeah. Frank Miller was that? No. Alan Moore. Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Well, one of the big questions I always get, or that I hear a lot when we see this particular series, because it's Watchmen, and the big dog in the Watchmen universe is Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Big dog in the DC universe, Superman. So I'll ask you guys, Superman versus Dr. Manhattan. Who takes it?
Wow. Oh God.
I really love Superman, but he would get annihilated by Dr. Manhattan.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
All right. I always ask guys, why do you think that when everything that Dr. Manhattan could possibly do against Superman, other guys have tried and they've all failed? People have tried to disintegrate him, never worked. They've tried to wipe him from reality, he comes back. The personification of death tried to destroy him, couldn't do it. So what's special about Dr. Manhattan that somehow he's going to do it better than what these guys have all tried and failed?
I think a lot of it has to do probably with his personality, his logic, the fact that a lot of Dr. Manhattan is he makes his decisions very cold, very calculated, and Superman, especially for example, just as recent as the Action Comics, his spoiler alert, his dad, was already trying to talk him into getting out of Earth and letting Earth just fall. But Superman, just by emotion, just by being a real American and having just some passion for Earth, some compassion, he just said that no, I'll stay here. I'll stay here, protect Earth, protect my country, protect my land. But so it's he doesn't really think too logically through. For the case of Dr. Manhattan, it's he could just as easily convince Superman. He'd totally break him down mentally.
Yeah.
He could break him down mentally.
I was actually considering.
Even though that's what happened to Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen, that he was the one broken down mentally, that he was the guy, one of the things I usually put to people, Dr. Manhattan has never shown that he can take a punch. In his universe, he's the only superpowered being. And when he got confronted with something that he couldn't handle, he ran away to Mars in order to go deal it, to take it out.
That is true.
So, I understand he's the big dog in his universe, but he's the only big dog in his universe. So I'm always surprised when I hear, Dr. Manhattan has to take it, and I'm always wondering where that comes from at the end of the day. Is it just, he's a fan favorite character, he's very easy to get into, and Superman looks like, Superman wins too much. Maybe Superman deserves it. Let him get beaten this one right over here. Let him see how it feels.
No, I got crushed when I first found out about his death back in '93. When I first heard about that arc and all that stuff going on, I was like, no wait, this can't happen. But if Dr. Manhattan's capable of, you know, killing Rorschach to, you know, just to be able to killing one of his own people, just to like keep a secret, just to keep the world in order, I think that he'd be able to he should be able to have no problems, you know, trying to sort of push Superman to that brink, to that you know, that limit that where he might just fail, where Superman just might fail, even if he comes back, which you know,
which is gonna happen.
Magical world of comics.
Of course, but even if he does come back, it would just be like a very like poignant moment for the character of Superman himself, because it's like everyone hates, you know, everyone that I seem to come across with, they always knock on Superman, you know, very rarely, you know, do I find someone that likes him, and I'm always like, come on, man, you know, it's Superman, like he's great.
He's too OP. He's too OP.
But yeah, no, he's too overpowered, all that stuff, and it's just
I've never understood that. You know, it's like saying a firefighter has too much water.
Yeah, yeah, like what's wrong with that? You know, and he's supposed to be like, you know, the thing we should strive for. You know, you know, that's the guy that we should all try to be. And so, you know,
the hell with that. You know, embrace your flaws and be flawed at the end of the day. Well, hey, great talking with you guys. Thanks again. I'm running on Americano. I don't know how you guys are staying up, but hopefully, I'm really hoping when we read these stories, it's worth the time that we came out. Okay, thanks
Absolutely.
again.
Yes,
Thanks again.
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you.
All right, so I'm here at Midtown Comics with Adam, and he's going to tell me how Dr. Manhattan can beat Superman. Go right ahead, Adam.
Okay, since Dr. Manhattan can manipulate atomic level substances or molecular substances, can't he just create himself into Superman?
Okay.
Basically make himself an identical, not a clone, but an identical version of Superman, because Superman tends to always get resurrected and he always comes back for anything. But if there's two versions of the same exact Superman, maybe if one of them gets killed off, maybe the other one won't come back.
Right, but the one that's not coming back is the guy who's not Superman.
You don't know who the Superman is not going to come back. He's identical to Superman.
Wow. See, he could be identical to Superman, I believe, up until the point of, even down to his DNA, but he's still not Superman.
That's the situation. That's the Dr. Manhattan powers. He can actually become exactly Superman.
All right. See,
Not.
but then he's beating Superman by being Superman.
Exactly.
Which means he couldn't do it without being Superman.
Exactly.
So Superman wins at the end of the day.
Always.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for your time.